Dr. Wybrow became very famous as a London doctor. People said that he earned a lot of money from his work, more than most doctors at that time. One afternoon, near the end of the busy season in London, the doctor had just eaten lunch after a very hard morning of work in his office. He still had many patients to visit at their homes, when his servant came in and said that a lady wanted to see him. "Who is she?" the doctor asked. "Is she someone I don't know?" "Yes, sir. I don't see strangers outside of my work hours. Tell her what my hours are and send her away." "I told her, sir. And she won't leave. She won't leave." The doctor smiled when he said this. He liked to joke, and there was something funny about the situation that made him laugh a little. "Did this stubborn lady give you her name?" he asked. "No, sir. She refused to give her name. She said she won't take more than 5 minutes, and the matter is too important to wait until tomorrow. She's in the consulting room now, and I don't know how to make her leave." Dr. Wybrow thought for a moment. He had been a doctor for more than 30 years, and he had met many women in his work. He knew that some women did not care about time, and they often used their position as women to get what they wanted. He looked at his watch and saw that he had to start visiting his patients soon, who were waiting for him at their homes. He decided to do the smartest thing he could in this situation. In other words, he decided to escape. "Is the carriage ready at the door?" he asked. "Yes, sir." "Good. Open the door for me quietly, and leave the lady alone in the consulting room. When she gets tired of waiting, you know what to tell her. If she asks when I'll come back, tell her that I'm eating dinner at my club and going to the theater tonight. Now, Thomas, be quiet. If your shoes make noise, I am finished." He quietly walked to the hall, with the servant following him on tiptoe. Did the lady in the consulting room hear him? Or did Thomas's shoes make a noise? And was the lady good at hearing? Whatever the reason, what happened next was very clear. Just as Dr. Wybrow passed the consulting room, the door opened. The lady came out and put her hand on his arm. "I beg you, sir, don't leave without letting me speak to you first." Her voice sounded foreign. It was soft but firm. She gently, but strongly, held the doctor's arm. Her words and actions didn't make the doctor want to listen to her request. What made him stop walking was the look on her face. The strange difference between her pale skin, like a dead person, and the strong life in her bright, shining black eyes made him stop and stare at her. She wore dark clothes, dressed very nicely. She was not very tall, and she looked about 30 years old or a little older. Her lower face, her nose, mouth, and chin, was very fine and delicate, something often seen more in foreign women than in English women. She was clearly beautiful, but her very pale skin made her look strange. There was also no softness in her eyes. Besides his first surprise, the doctor felt a strong sense of professional curiosity. This might be a new kind of case for him to study. It looks like it, he thought. It might be worth waiting for. She noticed that she had made a strong impression on him and let go of his arm. You have helped many sad women in your life, she said. Help one more today. Without waiting for an answer, she walked back into the room. The doctor followed her and closed the door. He sat her down in the patient's chair, near the windows. Even in London, the sun was very bright on that summer afternoon. The light shone on her. She stared at the sun without blinking, with strong eyes like an eagle. Her smooth, pale skin looked even whiter in the light. For the first time in many years, the doctor felt his heart beat faster because of a patient. Now that she had his full attention, the strange thing was that she had nothing to say. It seemed like she didn't care to talk anymore. The doctor, having to speak first, asked the usual question, "How can I help you?" The sound of his voice seemed to wake her up. Still looking straight at the light, she said quickly, "I have a hard question to ask. What is it?" Her eyes slowly moved from the window to the doctor's face. Without any sign of being upset, she asked her painful question in these surprising words. "I want to know, please, if I am in danger of going mad?" Some people might have found this funny, and others might have been scared. But Dr. Wybrow just felt disappointed. Was this the rare case he had been hoping for just by looking at her? Was this new patient just a woman who worried too much, whose problem was a bad stomach and a weak mind? He asked her sharply, "Why do you come to me? Why don't you see a doctor who treats people with mental illness?" She had her answer ready immediately. "I don't go to that kind of doctor," she said, "because he only knows one way to think. He judges everyone by his own rules. I come to you because my case doesn't fit into any rules. You are famous for finding out mysteries in sickness. Are you happy with that answer?" He was more than happy. His first thought was right after all. Besides, she was correct about his professional skills. What made him famous and successful was his special talent for finding unusual diseases. "I am ready to help you," he replied. "Let me try to find out what is wrong with you." He asked her medical questions. She answered quickly and clearly. Her answers showed that she was in good health, both in her mind and body. Not satisfied, the doctor examined her heart and other important organs. Neither his hands nor his stethoscope could find anything wrong. With the same patience and care that he had shown since he was a student, he tested her again and again. But the results were always the same. There was no sign of brain disease, and her nervous system was working perfectly. "I can't find anything wrong with you," he said. "I don't even know why your skin is so pale. You are a complete mystery to me." "The pale color of my skin is nothing," she replied, sounding a little impatient. "When I was young, I almost died from being poisoned. Since then, I've never had good skin. My skin is so sensitive, I can't put on makeup without getting a terrible rash. But that doesn't matter. I wanted your clear opinion. I believed in you, and now you have let me down." She lowered her head sadly. "And so it ends," she said quietly to herself. The doctor felt sorry for her. Or maybe it was his professional pride that felt a bit hurt. It might still end well, he said, if you choose to help me. She looked up with bright, intense eyes. Speak clearly, she said. How can I help you? Clearly, madam, you came to me as a mystery, and you expect me to solve it using only my medical skills. My skills can do a lot, but not everything. For example, something must have happened. Something that has nothing to do with your physical health, that has scared you about yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come to see me. Is that true? She clasped her hands tightly in her lap. That is true, she said eagerly. I am starting to believe in you again. Good. But you can't expect me to figure out what emotional or mental reason has made you afraid. I can tell you for sure there is no physical reason to worry. But unless you trust me and share more, I can't help you further. She stood up and walked around the room. What if I tell you, she said. But remember, I won't give any names. There is no need for names. I just need to know the facts. The facts don't matter, she replied. I can only share my feelings, and you'll probably think I'm just being silly when you hear them. But never mind. I will try to satisfy you. I'll start with the facts you want. But believe me, they won't help you much. She sat down again. In the simplest words, she began to tell the strangest and most unbelievable story the doctor had ever heard.